In the coming weeks and months, Krakuk became a respected and well-loved member of the guild. Several more errands for Fondir followed, and on one of them, a bundle of coded documents fell into their hands. They gave them to the guildmaster, who tried to decrypt them, for a long time to no avail. They also saw Melina arguing with Fondir once. She had enlisted the companion's aid in protecting the shop of a weaver she was friends with, against a band of goblins that lived in the area and tried to extort money through constant bullying. While they drove the creatures off for good, Fondir was outraged, stating that actions like these could set the hounds of Caer on their trail. Thanael saw Melina crying later, and for the first time, the Dark Elf wasn't sure if she was really in the right place, and wondered why she stayed behind. He had learned that many had left Caer after its fall, but somehow Melina refused to let go. A sense of home and belonging, maybe? The Dark Elf sighed. Yes, that he could understand. He remembered his own task that his home city had put him to, and wandered around, taking in as much of the city's streets as he could, yearning to learn more. The new year came, but Thanael did not find any leads on the silver amulet with the black rune he carried. He became restless and impatient, but told himself that he needed to bide his time and not make any moves that would attract unwelcome attention. To his own surprise, he visited the Temple of Ereshkigal regularly, for something there spoke to him, although he did not quite comprehend what it was. He also wondered at the strange nature of this city. Before Jakar's conquest, it had been called the Jewel of the North, and many races coexisted peacefully here, although it was still first and foremost a human settlement. After the war, orcs had become the second largest faction, with quite a few goblins too, but many of the elves, dwarves and halflings that had lived here earlier were still around. And so, a weirdly cosmopolitan air permeated the place. While there was a lot of underlying hostility, Jakar's enforcers brutally crushed any unrest, availing the populace an uneasy truce. Even the city itself reflected this change. It had been partially rebuilt after the war, and while there were some ruins left, many buildings had been fixed with a darker type of granite that conveyed the impression of a dark growth overgrowing the former original city. Still, the underlying beauty could be seen in most places, and it gave the last occupied city in Taelurien a peculiar character. Zuldin was also uneasy, increasingly haggling with his role at the Blackthorn. He enjoyed his work at the guild and occupied his mind with the study of magic, both with Melina's aid and on his own, but he still felt that something was lacking. And so he found himself visiting the great library of Caer one day, without really knowing what he was looking for. As the gnome walked the aisles between the towering bookshelves, scanning the spines of the books, Zuldin couldn't help but notice the whispers of the other visitors around him. He knew he looked out of place among the scholars and academics, but he did not mind. As he wandered, a book caught his eye. Its spine was worn and faded, and the title was barely legible, but something about it drew him in. He pulled it off the shelf and flipped through the pages, feeling the rough texture of the paper beneath his fingertips. Zuldin's eyes widened as he read about it. A legendary orange gem, said to be the greatest that ever was, hidden away in the nether halls of Corphos. For a moment, the gnome forgot about his troubles, lost in the excitement of a new adventure. He picked a nearby table and pulled up a chair, settling in for a long afternoon of research. As he turned page after page, taking meticulous notes, he couldn't help but feel a spark of hope. Maybe this was the break he needed, a chance to leave the Blackthorn behind and make a name for himself as a hero. Suddenly, a voice broke through his thoughts. "Excuse me, sir, but the library is closing. If you need more time, please make your way to the front desk to request an extension." Zuldin looked up at the old librarian, startled. Had he really been busy for that long already? He glanced at the tall, slim window at the head of the large central aisle where he was sitting, and realized that the sun was about to set. "Oh, my apologies," he said, startled by his own friendly tone. "I think I am done here." He put the books with the research on gems and their nether halls back on the shelf and exited the library, his heart jumping with joy.